Hello, everybody. Welcome once again. My name is Dan Russo. You are watching Under the Covers with Dan Russo, live, coming from Canton, Massachusetts today. The first time that I have been outside the city of Boston and doing this show since I don't know when. I am super excited. My guest today is Tom Bianchi. Tom Bianchi, hey, what is up, my friend?
Oh, hey.
Tom Bianchi, if you don't know who Tom Bianchi is, that is a shame. Tom is a local singer-songwriter, Emcee, bass player, host, sound guy. There's nothing that this man cannot do, will not do, and does not do for the musical community in and around Boston, Cambridge, and Somerville. Tom, I feel like I, along with many other people, owe you a huge thank you, and just you're a tremendously kind, altruistic human being, and I am a better person for having known you, and I want to make sure we get that done first. And we're like, Tom is, and like the only drawback that Tom has is that he's a Yankees fan.
This is. I'm not happy with you, Dan Rico.
Why is that?
We're 8 minutes late, and you got to tell your viewing audience it's not my fault.
No, it's totally my fault. It's 100% my fault. I
had my OBS. I had my my cool rig ready to go here. You know what I'm saying? With all kinds of different. See, you can't see it now because I got another iPad here. So when I take a fancy solo, I could have switched cameras and stuff.
Oh man,
that's okay. I'm okay that we're not using that. That's okay. But I also had in the OBS a little screenshot that said Mets suck. And it was ready to go. It's ready to go. Now all I can do is print it and just hold it up.
It still counts. At least the Yankees have actually played some baseball. It was like
the Mets haven't played?
No, because some guy on the Washington tested positive for COVID. So their first game is actually tomorrow.
I'm sure everybody here wants us to talk about baseball.
I have no problem talking about baseball with you, Tom. I feel like that is such a good. I feel like that was one of the things when you started talking to me about baseball and making fun of me about the Mets, and I'm like, oh, wow. I feel like I belong now, like kind of like this really nice invitation I think that you gave me in making fun of the Mets, and I appreciate that, and I want to thank you for that too.
So, strangers in strange lands we are. We were both in Massachusetts. We're both in the metro area. Do you see Yankee hats up here? You see the occasional Met hat. Do you? I just saw one this morning when I went to Stop and Shop. I always under my breath I whisper when I see a guy with a hat. I just go, "Go Yankees!"
Right. But no. If I'm driving, I roll down the window and I scream, "Let's go Mets!" out the window. Yeah, no, every single time.
I moved here in '96 when the Red Sox were just horrible, and there just been years, and so I spent almost 6-7 years, almost a decade in Boston with the Red Sox not having won, and I was very sensitive because I didn't get it. I'm a New Yorker. I'm from New York. I've been in Boston for more than 20 years now. I think I think next year I'll be in Boston longer than I grew up on Long Island. But when I first moved here, I didn't get it. Where people were just like, "You don't fucking get it, man. Every year we get this close, and every year we get screwed." 1908, blah blah blah. Like now, this generation of New Englanders have no idea what the last generation of New Englanders went through, the droughts that they went. I mean, it's like championship city right now. New York has always been championship city. So when I first got here, I was like, oh, come on. It's just, hey. And it's like, we get fucked every year. Every single year, you have no idea. So I've always tried to keep my New York loyalty a little bit on the down low.
So one of the things, so I got here in '98. So, and last August was the day. Last August 20th was the day that I've lived in Boston more than I lived in New York.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I first moved up here, I had an apartment above my wife's grandmother, who is super huge baseball fan. No, she was born in 1916 and has lived through every single up and down of the Red Sox ever. And in 2004, I was over at James Gate in Jamaica Plain, and the first thing I did is I called Nana. I was like, Nana, you won!
Yeah,
So it was just like, it was such a, and being here and being kind of like part of that a family kind of, you can appreciate it, I guess, in that way.
Yeah.
At least I found like I could. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sports is fun.
It can be. That's
And
true.
it can be heartbreaking, but the second it's nothing but it's not fun, that's when you know you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. See, look at that. We're 15 minutes of baseball, Tom. There we go.
That's it. Yo, we haven't been on the air for 15 minutes. You're like 10 minutes.
Oh, okay,
5 minutes of
fine.
baseball, 10
fine,
minutes
fine.
of 7 or 8 people going, where are they?
Where are they? We're right here. We're right here. It is Sunday. Happy Easter for all those who are celebrating Easter. So, Tom, I mentioned before that you are for a lot of people the center, or at least the person at the center of music in and around this area. And you mentioned you came up in '96 and just started playing the Park Street Station, and I find that is just an incredible story. Can you kind of lead us through that a little bit, like what those kind of early years were like?
Yeah, absolutely. Is this mic better than the one I was just talking into? It's
Actually,
probably-
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this is my desk mic. I'm going to play some acoustic guitar and some bass tonight, so I have a few different rigs going on.
Fancy.
So this mic might be a little hissy, but it's easier to talk into for now. I moved here in '96. A friend of mine, Pete, who has since moved down to Tennessee, hooked me up with a job at the Big Burrito in Alston, right next to Harper's Ferry, and a place to stay, an apartment with a fellow named Ray Archie, who was in this band called the Download Connection. And I putted around Alston for a little while, just hanging and working at the Big Burrito, and it was all music kids who worked there. And I worked there for a year or two, and I got the boss was one of the best bosses in the world, but he was away for like a week, and he put some kid in charge, and the kid didn't like me, and I mean, I probably didn't show up and shit either, whatever. But no one ever used to get fired from that job. Like you could shoot babies in the hallway and nobody would get fired from that job. Like do those horrible things. That's not true. You could be flaky, is what I'm trying to say. In today's day and age of Donald Trump shooting people on Fifth Avenue, I don't mean you could actually shoot babies. But you could say, "Ma'am, that's an ugly baby." You get away with it. You wouldn't get.
I feel like that's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair.
So I got canned, and it was like right before Christmas, and I had no money, and I just needed a few bucks. I was more attached to New York back then. I wasn't quite just a flat out Bostonian, and I needed a few bucks to get home. So a couple friends of mine, this guy Tim, I can't remember his last name for the life of me, but he was a wandering musician. We played in this band together called The Choice of Tragic Wives. If anybody's actually listening and knows Timmy's last name, by all means. And this other guy, Gonzalo Silva, who I'm still friends with to this day. They were Subway musicians. A couple other, Mary Lou Lord was out there. And I just took my rig into the Subway at Central Square for a couple hours, a few days before Christmas, and I cleaned up. I sucked. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just made money. And I was like, F this, man. I'm not going to work at the burrito shop. This is like 1997 or 98. I don't even remember. And I'm not working burritos ever again. I'm going to be a full-time musician. Screw the establishment, all this, And I went home for Christmas to my mom and dad down in New York. I wrote some songs, and I came back up, and I thought like I had to play the blues and be vibey for the Subway. That's what all my friends were doing. I just kind of was like, would play Little Wing all night. Like, can you hear that, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of, she's walking, play like all mellow through the clouds, the circus man. And I killed before Christmas, but I came back in January, and the Christmas money dried up. Like I didn't realize that it was Christmas tips is what I got. And I like January 4th or 5th, I played for 2 or 3 weeks straight, and I was making nickels and dimes. I was making absolutely nothing. And then one day it was actually Martin Luther King Day. Today's the day Martin Luther King got shot, but this is his birthday observed, the third Monday of every month. And I was playing Heinz Convention Center, which is like, I learned how to, I don't know, Did you ask for this much?
Yes.
Did you ask for this much? Are people
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Comments?
Absolutely
Or
did.
Wrap it up and play a fucking song, Tom.
No. The comments are great. Comments are great. We're good.
All right. So it's Monday afternoon. I eventually learned how to play the subway. Like, don't go Monday afternoon to Heinz Convention Center and play. Like, nobody's there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm there and I'm playing, and I got this bass. This is the classic bass I used the whole time. And I got no money. I got the worst fucking cold. I have a cold worse than COVID because I've been living in the subway for 3 weeks, you know? And some dude actually came over to give me $1, and this glass jar of tomato sauce dropped out of his bag, and it splattered all over the platform. And I was like, oh, this is freaking terrible. Oh, God, you know? And he actually helped me clean it up, and he went on his way. And there I am. It's Heinz with no money, and rent is coming, and you know, and it's cold. I'm frozen to the bone. In January, the subway, the temperature actually catches up. The ground catches up with the weather. So in like December, November, you can play in the subways, and it's still kind of nice. It's like 5 degrees warmer down there. By the time you get to January, February, it's like 5-10 degrees colder. It could be gorgeous out, like the first gorgeous day of the year. It's still a freaking icebox in the subway, so I'm freezing. And then like somebody's walking down the steps, and they almost walk into the sauce, this big thing of sauce that spilled on the thing. So I'm like, look out, buddy. And the guy ignores me. This is like even before cell phones. Guy ignores me. I'm like, look out, buddy. And he like looks at me like crooked, like, shut up, subway guy, fuck you, you know? And I'm like, dude. And he looks down and he goes, oh, and he sidesteps the sauce. And like a couple of people actually like clapped. They saw it happen. And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, this could be something, you know? So I wait like a minute, you know, 20 seconds, comic timing. And I lean into the mic and I go, that should be worth $1, don't you think?
That you saved this guy's shoes from the sauce. Yeah.
He comes over, he's like, absolutely. And I made money. So for the next like 3 hours, I just sat there warning people about sauce and making up songs and goofing off. And it was the first time it teaches you the very humble lesson of like, be yourself. You know, because that's who I am. I'm a person. I'm a talker. I'm a goofbag. I like to talk with folks. I like to communicate. And I went down into that subway thinking, I got to play subway music. I got to play the blues. I got to be mellow. My friend Gonzalo's real mellow. My friend Tim plays the blues. You know, I got to be the subway guy. And I just, from that day on, I went down there and essentially did almost like stand-up comedy / music. And it lasted for years. I mean,
you still kind of do that now. I mean, that's to a certain extent, you know, even like the Lizard Lounge, definitely the open mic at the Lizard Lounge, but even a hinge of that I think shows up when you're hosting over at
all the time
at the Burren or something like that. And it's so wonderful. It's so Jocelyn just said you are amazing at stand-up comedy / music.
Cut it out.
It's so
none of that today.
You found the secret sauce. Oh, I like that. Let's wah wah.
Yeah, I put out a whole record of Subway songs.
You did.
Yeah.
And in fact, I have.
Don't step in the sauce. If you do, it will be your loss. And
it is song 2, by the way. If somebody wants to right now, I'm putting it in the chat. You can go to Tom's store. It's 24hourtom.com/store, and you can get either a T-shirt or you can get music. The Sauce song is number 2 on Park Street Blues on the record. This is. Oh no, we got it. This is a professional, except for the 8 minutes late thing. This is a professional organization here.
You were with family at Easter. I think we can cut some slack.
No, I was in the car because it took too long to make the cannoli shells. That was the problem. I forgot how long it takes to make cannoli shells, and I was not able to get my act together as quickly as I thought.
Dude, cannolis.
So, they're pretty great. Can you play a song? I think this is probably the perfect timing right now.
We're doing covers, huh?
Yeah. You can do covers. Last week, Steve Shandy was on. He did 4 originals. They were great. So it's up to you.
No, I like the idea that under the covers. I planned a bunch of songs, and now I want to do something different. Obviously, you know, of course. Let me change it.
Well, it's part of the fun. It's live. It's live TV. That's how you know it's real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
when I first went into the Subway. I was doing 4 songs. I was doing an original, "So Lonely" by the Police, Little Wing, and the 4th one I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. But okay, cool. So I'm gonna put my fancy stuff on here. I wasn't gonna play. Nah, I'm gonna stick to my plan. I came up with this cover not too long ago. Hey, cool effects and stuff, reverby things. Switching to my cool mic. Getting a better camera angle. Here we go. Like I said, I used to cover "So Lonely" by the Police because I absolutely love the Police. I'm a huge Police fan. So I don't know if I do this song justice or not. It's nothing like the recording, but I like to play it. It's not "So Lonely," by the way, obviously. I try to get this reggae thing going on like the Police had, you know? Well, shit. There it is. Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light. Days are over. You don't have to sell your body to the night. Roxanne, you don't have to wear that dress tonight. Walk the streets for money. You don't even care if it's wrong or if it's right. Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light. Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light. I love you since I knew you. I wouldn't talk down to you. I had to tell you just how I feel. I won't say it with another boy. I know my mind is made up. So put away your makeup. Told you once, I won't tell you again. It's a bad way. Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light. Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light. 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 Love you since I knew you. I wouldn't talk down to you. I had to tell you just how I feel. Won't say it with another boy. I know my mind is made up. So put away your makeup. I told you once, I won't tell you again. It's a bad way. Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light. Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light. 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 Roxanne, Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light.
Woo! Tom, that was amazing.
It's all right.
No, it was not. It was not all right. It was fantastic. This is
I'm still a little rusty here and there, you know.
So I'm gonna actually, since we can do this now. This is the first time I'm using StreamYard for the show. So I want to say thank you, Tom, for being the guinea pig, but not the guinea pig that you eat in Peru. The guinea pig that actually can be a help here. Mary wants to start an all-female cover band of the Police called Sting Ops.
I'll fucking I'll cross-dress for that.
Cece says Cece was singing along. There's a lot of Afsha wants more wackety thwaps. Sarah wants in. There's a ton of comments here, Tom. This is I mean, obviously you're a tremendously talented musician, and I'm always amazed. One of the things whenever I see you play bass, I was the bass player in the band in high school, you know, and then into college, mostly because I didn't have a really nice guitar and everyone else did. And I guess I'll play bass because everyone else was like, I'm playing guitar. And I was like,
that's often how it happens. It's not how it happened for me, but
this is the question I have. It's like you're answering the question before I ask it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Say again?
Go ahead. No, what how did it happen? What was the
yeah, that's not the Police. I was such a huge Sting fan. About, you know, I was a huge Police fan. I'm a huge Sting fan, but I should say I'm a huge Police fan. That I love the band so much. The energy, you know, because of Sting and because of that type of lead singer, I never thought I could sing for a million years. Like, you know, I didn't get into Lou Reed first. I got into Sting. Right. Like I couldn't, you know, so I always just thought I would never be a singer at all. Not that I am, but you know. But yeah, I just love, you know, there's so much in the Police. You know, so we're under the covers. I mean, think about all these bass lines. I mean, all day. All their bass lines. I mean, how many bands do you know where the bass line, you can identify the song immediately by a bass line?
Immediately, you know? Yeah.
Immediately. Yeah. Just so identifiable. And so I definitely, my first bass that I bought with my own money, my parents, I'm sure helped. My parents they'd always make me like work for something, but they like, you know, all right, well, we'll cover the rest, that kind of thing. My parents were real good, you know. And it was like this white Ibanez bass that looked like this bass Sting used on the Synchronicity tour in 1983-84. You know? Yeah, right. Police all day, man.
Sarah's asking, do you have a favorite Police song?
Nah, I couldn't possibly. You know, it's all the obscure stuff. Voices in My Head. You know, all the obscure stuff. You know, the hits are obviously great. As I got older, I have more of an appreciation for all the hits. Every Breath You Take, you know, when I was so overplayed, but like, you know, but
I also feel like, you know, you're coming back to, you know, yeah, you know, coming back to growing up on Long Island, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there a hint of like that I don't want to call it Long Island-ness, but that little bit of, you know, like when you're just older than I am, and I always think of when I was growing up, Long Island was someplace totally different. It was not. It was not the city. It was yeah, exactly. But
you're from more further in Nassau County, correct?
No, I grew up in Brooklyn. I went to high school in the city. So
so you're not from Long Island. You're from Brooklyn.
Yeah, but like out by you was out. You know, it was a whole different world. Growing up there.
Now, let me ask you, were you one of those people from Brooklyn who had no geographical awareness of the fact that Brooklyn is part of Long Island?
I actually, in 5th grade, did an assignment. And when I found that out, I was like, no, that makes sense. So I also was the kid who was mad at my second grade teacher when she told me Albany was the capital of New York, and
Yeah.
I was like, that's a lie.
What do
Like,
you mean
there's
New
no,
York is the capital of New York?
yeah,
No,
no, that's not
this
that's not a
shitty
thing
ass
that's gonna
town
happen.
up the pike, up Route
It's
87.
literally it's like a little plaza with a couple of state buildings around it, and everything closes at 9:30. It's
But
that's Albany.
you were asking me a question.
Yeah, no. So I was asking, like in as somebody growing up in like the mid to late '80s, listening to Sting and the Police, and a ton of, I'm sure, a ton of classic rock coming out of a lot of
Absolutely.
those WNEW,
Yeah, absolutely.
and
I mentioned Scott Muni in one of my songs.
Scott Muni is
It's,
so awesome. Scott Muni, Dennis Kelsa, Pete Fornatal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually one of the neatest things. No, just to make your show about me for a second. The one of the neatest things was my roommate in college was Pete Fornatal's son,
Oh wow.
and there was one day I was in my room and I heard this voice in the other room, and I was like, I know that voice from someplace. Where do I know that from? And I walk out, and he's just, it's just the guy's Mark's dad. But in doing so, like, what were the opportunities for a bass player in Long Island in the mid to late '80s, or was there a kind of like a moment of moving to Boston was purposeful for that?
No, I mean, I played bass in high school, so that was a lot of fun because I had one of my very good friends. We still keep in touch today. Was a consummate musician, just absolutely virtuoso level piano player, and he was kind enough, but with no weird attitude. Like he was kind enough to let me play bass, and I was still taking lessons. I was still, I could play, but I wasn't anywhere near this dude's level. And we put on shows. And I played in the jazz band in high school, but I wasn't playing long enough to go through the music program. Like I didn't go to band. I just in 12th grade I was in jazz band. So we put on shows. We actually put on original music shows. My friend Michael and I. We were woke before woke was woke. We put on the show called Standing Alone, which was a thing about to stand alone against teenage isolation. We had a lot of. We were the musicians. We would break into the auditorium and play, and so the misfits would come and hang out because and then the teachers would come and kick us out of this auditorium, and then we'd sneak back in. We always knew how to break in.
This is amazing. I love this.
And then Mike would play piano, and I'd sit up with the acoustic guitar and sit on the piano, and we'd sing. And then eventually, we did this for 2 years, 11th and 12th grade. And eventually, the cool teachers would come and be like, "Oh, this is the place to hang."
Right.
And they'd sit and they'd start grading papers sitting in the front row of the auditorium. And the ones would be like, "You guys got to get out of here." And like Miss whoever would be like, "Oh, no, I'm good. I got them."
Yeah, exactly.
And they'd be like, "You but," and eventually we created this whole scene of just people hanging out, practicing their plays, doing homework. Like it was almost like a giant study hall from about third period to the end of the day. The auditorium was just open unless there was some shit going on. So I got a lot of experience playing guitar and writing songs and playing bass in that. And then when high school ended, I'll be honest, I was really lost. Is this where this show is supposed to go? Does anybody give
Tom, this is your show. This is your show. I stole it for a second, but this is exactly where this is going.
Listening to and nobody gives a fuck. But
I do. I care, Tom. I want to hear this. This is so great. This is your story.
I look back on some of these days very fondly. I got a brand new song I just wrote. It's called Once Was Me. It's basically the fact that I'm getting to the age where it's like, and we're about the same age, where like this, what I'm talking about is like a movie that I have vague recollection of. I kind of know how the story goes, but I can't tell you the exact dialogue, and there's some very vivid pictures.
It sounds like even the way you described it just now, and like with the that one teacher in the front grading papers saying, "Nope, I'm here," and you're like, "Oh, I've seen that before."
I can't even fathom it was me. It was like, that was fucking me. Holy shit! I mean, oh my god! And then when you're old, you look at pictures of yourself young. I was beautiful,
right?
How come I thought I was such a loser and awkward and God, I was a fucking Adonis. We were all sleeping when we were young. You're just.
When you see yourself at 18, you're like,
It doesn't
damn.
matter. And I'm not saying I was good looking. I'm just saying you're young. You know, it's not a matter of like this vanity, like, oh, I was actually good looking. It's not what I'm saying. It's just like you got so much.
And a little less of these too.
Yeah, you have no idea you have no idea how fucked you're gonna be. You know. But anyway, I got out of high school and it all ended. Like it took me a couple of years to kind of put it all back together. I just kind of was working, and it was so magical to have this place, and to play music and be around so many people. And I didn't really go to college, so I ended up eventually hooking up with a New York City band. So that was from about the age of 19 or so to about the age of 25. I was in and out. I moved into the city eventually, and I was playing in New York City, but so I spent a lot of time in the New York City. Like I met this wonderful woman named Sherry Cole who introduced me to like members of the Spin Doctors and stuff like that, and bands. This band called Xanax 25 that was coming up underneath them, and another band called Kindred Spirit. All these hippie bands, Nightingales on Second Avenue. So I started really appreciating that Spin Doctor kind of hippie scene. I was playing in New York a lot. I was bouncing around apartments and living 4 months here and 6 months there, like a 21-year-old would. And I was in this one band called Harsh Reality. I was the young guy. I was the bass player, and everybody was a little older than me. They were even a little older than the people in that scene. So there was a little bit of a disconnect. I owe a lot to that band, Harsh Reality. They really, because I was the young guy playing bass. I was like, But I wasn't singing. It was this guy, Rick Purdy, wrote the songs and sang. He was a great front man. I owe a lot to Rick. In fact, I don't know if you ever heard us do Too Much on My Mind, the song. Too late in this morning, stumbled down a stair. It's a Baker Thomas song. That's a Rick Purdy song. But yeah, the band though was a little, a little older, set in their ways to be like, what do you mean have a girl singer? What do you mean you wear something different? Why are you wearing flannel? We're a glam rock band. I'm like, dude. I was kind of slowly turning into this like hippie who didn't give a fuck. I was smoking a lot of pot back then, But I got a lot of experience, and then I left Long Island, New York, and I came back to Long Island, and I was like big fish in small pond, and I started a band that blew up. It got Smoking Toad, and we played a lot in the city because of my contacts. We played all over Long Island, and we just had a great local following. It was a lot of fun. With that friend Michael from high school, he jumped in that band, and then I got into drugs and fucked it all up big time. And then I had to leave Long Island because I fucked up everything so bad, drugs, and I came to Boston, and I stopped doing cocaine. Well, I never stopped. I just haven't in 25 years.
That's awesome.
Did you want that much?
I did, Tom. I really did.
About this shit?
I care. And you know what? It's such a fan. It does. It sounds like a movie. It's such a great story, and not that it's a story, because it's it's your life, and I'm of the opinion. I'm always thinking how there's nothing I've done or nobody I've seen that hasn't had some kind of impact, good or bad. Like there's, I come back to the thought that, people complain about their jobs all the time. And I've never disliked any job. I've had some crazy jobs. I painted fences for a summer, I worked on Wall Street for a year. Like, it's crazy. I've never hated any job.
Oh my God.
It's like, but each piece of that though is, bringing something to, like, even just, talking about the Baker Thomas Band, like that is, the Baker Thomas Band is an institution. It's and the fact you keep it going every Thursday on your Facebook page, on your YouTube channel, is incredible. And I love hearing where the Tom Bianchi I know comes from. And that's amazing to me. And the chat is also saying it's fascinating. I wanted more. We love to hear more about your life.
The chat. Oh my God!
Isn't that cool? It's
what up, chat? What up? What up, Sarah? How you doing? What up,
It's so
Avsha?
cool.
Where are you? Avsha's like in Israel or something, isn't he?
Avsh's in Germany right now.
He's in Germany?
He lives in Berlin, yeah.
Well, odd that. Anyway.
Yeah, no, and this is also, if anybody's listening or watching, this is the first time we are going live on YouTube as well.
Oh,
So,
cool.
If you have friends or people who are not Facebook people, I know there's like 7 non-Facebook people in the world. What's up, Ryan? And you can go over to YouTube and watch it now or watch it later, and that's the wonderful thing about the internet. You can watch it now, you can watch it later.
Yeah, it's cool. It's the best this world can be right now.
That's the best way. That's the way to look at it. I think the best this world can be right now.
Yeah.
Do you mind playing another tune?
No, not at all. Not at all. I was only about 1/10 of the way through my biography, though.
Well, we got time after you play, so we're good. We could. It's not like someone's going to throw us out or cut us off. So.
Turn of the century.
Yeah, what was it? What was it like going to high school in the 1900s? That's the.
Yeah.
My sister asked me that. She graduated high school in 2001.
There was certainly no be better or be best. None of it. Nope. It was look out. Don't get your ass kicked every turn of the corner.
Oh, that's Teddy. That's Teddy. He's saying hi.
All right. What am I doing? I was going to cover. There are the cool effects. Two, 2, 2, 1, 2. I'm not really digging. You can't really see my head, but I want to see this on the screen. Oh, this imperfect internet world of things and stuff. This my wife wrote this song, Danielle Moralia. There's no captain here to turn this ship around. Not a swimmer in sight, not a life vest to be found. There's a place on the boat where we all go to drown. There's a warm hand to hold when this thing goes down. Have another round with me. Have another round with me. Please don't leave me alone at sea. Have another round with me. Let me take you to all my darkest rooms. There's no sunshine, just the soft light of the moon. There's enough poison here where the night can be a wound. Birds you in the morning, orphans you by noon. Have another round with me. Have another round with me. Please don't leave me alone at sea. Have another round with me. speaks, we hear no thunder. Nobody speaks of the ship that's going under. Well, I for one, and another one for all. Glasses rise just as the bottom falls. Have another round with me. Have another round with me. Please don't leave me alone at sea. Have another round with me. Have another round with me. Have another round. If I go this way, you can see my turtle.
Yay! Hey, look, everyone, it's Tom's turtle.
Funky little turtle basking on a rock.
That was so awesome. Thank you, Tom. That was great. I see that your shirt matches, which is
Oh
great.
yeah. I wore my. Sorry, I gotta situate myself here. Shut off my crazy effects. There we go. Yeah, we go back to normal voice, Tom.
Normal voice Tom. Is there ever such a thing as normal voice Tom? Is there like a
Hey, Cece, how you doing?
that's speaking of Danielle, with your T-shirt, she is a wonderful human being and a fantastic guitar teacher. So if anybody,
Oh, she's
is
teaching
looking
one
for
of your
guitar-
kids, isn't she?
yeah, she's teaching my daughter guitar. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah. She likes your kid.
Well, my kid's pretty cool, and she
Yeah.
likes Danielle, so it's helpful.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I don't bullshit. It's the backstory. She likes your kid. She doesn't like them all. She won't tell you that.
I feel as a teacher, I recognize.
Yeah, you're a teacher.
Okay, that's
Oh my God, I
that's
can't
the
gosh.
Although I always tell my students when they ask that, I said that I've never disliked, or I've never hated a student.
Yeah.
There's some who annoy me, but I never actually hated. Maybe like one or two, but that's about it.
That's not your That's why I gave up the open mic. There was things I started to hate about it. Serious.
And what
That's why I stopped playing in the subway. There was things all of a sudden. There was things I started to hate about it. I was like, "Oh, I'm done."
Is there an example you can give us, or
The subway or the
general?
open mic?
Both, either one. Yeah, it's just a kind of general.
In the subway, I used to really be able to manipulate every situation like hecklers. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Once I started getting like mad at hecklers and attacking instead of flipping the script. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to be able to like goof with a heckler and get the entire platform on my side. Mm. And then I started getting to the point where I'd say something and someone else would be like, "Ooh, that's rough, dude."
Yeah. So you stopped doing the redirect. Is that what it was?
Yeah. I just, some little kid would go, "You suck." I'd be like, "So does your mom and anybody else here can for $12." And he was standing next to his mom. That's when I knew it was time to go. Just because it was funny doesn't mean I should have said it.
Right. That's fair. No, that's totally fair. Yeah. Speaking of which, one of the most incredible things I've ever seen is you taking a heckler, somebody who came to the open mic night supposedly to do stand up and was just mean, and were
you there that night?
And you just had him leave, and it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
I kindly escorted them out.
Yeah, and it was you get up there trying to supposedly to tell a joke and was doing that kind of just let me find nine things to pick on in the audience instead of actually being funny about it.
Comedy, and I love dark stand-up comedy. You know, I really do. I really enjoy dark, like Blue. They call it going blue. I really do. Like I enjoy Bill Burr and George Carlin and Richard Pryor and like Bill Hicks. Margaret Cho. Like I love dark comedy, but at the amateur level, comics over the years they will go into a music club and try to go blue, and it's like in other words, those guys, like, they were terrible, but I know what they were trying to do, and the room would have, if I didn't walk them out, the room would have killed them.
Yes, I think that is probably
true. There was this whole party in the back corner. There was like this guy's going away party, and they all worked for like Bright Horizons or something, like this name of this place where it's like all all accepting, and like they were just these beautiful people, like just fucking peace and love type. We're therapists and we're whatever it is, and they wanted to kill this guy. They were like Antifa on a Republican anthill. They wanted to fucking kill this guy, right? So like, I walked him out. I was like, guys, I know what you're trying to do, but you also, you're trying to go blue to see what happens, but there's a room, and you got to play the room. And it's like, I got Matt D, who comes here all the time and tries out new material. Now, you remember Matt D?
Yep.
Matt D has been on Conan. He's been on Kimmel. He's been on all the shows. He's doing well for himself. Matt D is a wonderful comedian, and he comes and plays. He came and played the Lizard Lounge all the time. He brought other great stand-up comedians into the Lizard Lounge, a folk music show, and they all did well. But you see comedians, like, they try to go blue. It's like, I get it, like, but they don't get it. Like, young comedians think going blue is calling somebody fat,
right,
or calling somebody stupid. Like, there was a dude, sitting. He was like, "What are you, the retarded banjo player?" And because the dude had like a thick pair of glasses on, it was like, you're just looking to get your ass kicked.
It's like, yeah, you're just being a jerk. Exactly. Yeah.
Like, in our point of view, would you go into would you go into Fenway and start going, like, start saying this shit to like all the Red Sox fans? No, you get your ass kicked.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a certain amount of grace, though, even in this conversation now. What was that, like 10 years ago or something? And the grace you are showing this person who probably never had a second thought about going back there again, and just shows your innate goodness. Tom.
But I also I don't know if we're getting
amazing.
this deep into this thing, but I also I really don't like for the most part, I don't like this cancel culture. I really don't. I took those guys outside and be like, you're in the wrong room. I know what you're trying to do. You're young comedians trying to go blue, testing your edges, testing your boundaries. I know what you're trying to do. Go to a comedy open mic. If you went to a comedy open mic, like if your average folkie, if your Newport Folk Festival attendee went to a comedy open mic, they'd be fucking mortified.
Oh, sure, yeah. But again, it's that people working on material are trying to say, right, where's the line? Like,
and you don't get as good as Bill Burr without screwing up in front of your own people, and that's like it's. But I don't like this guy. I took those guys out, and I just thought, like, let me educate these guys,
Yeah.
But I don't.
I feel like that is a testament to the grace that you have, and that you are being super thoughtful about.
I don't like the social media. I stopped I'm on all the social medias, but I really stopped going into, like, sometimes I'll one-line answer things, and that's about it. And I will support and add to positive things, like pictures, family, because I don't like it. I talk to friends, and it's like, this is the point of the conversation where people would be just yelling at us from the side because of a sentence that just sits there and lives there forever. And in conversation, anywhere, in the street, at a club, you'd be like, no, this is what I mean by that. Like, my wife has this beautiful song called You Don't Know Nothing. And she's playing in a bar, whether it's her or a fictional character. She's playing in a bar in the South, where it's fish sticks and flannel. The waitress smokes Camels, and the coffee costs more than the beer. I was picking my bones with a self-righteous tone, thinking, man, minds don't change around here. And I sang of Vietnam with a reaper-like charm, code red and counting the dead. When an 8 o'clock shadow with eyes like arrows slammed down his glass and said, you don't know nothing. You weren't there. Until you've had shrapnel under your skin, you couldn't begin. And then the second verse is, that shifted my tune, because how do you argue with a man who's been on front lines, tore my last keynote ticket, setting up the scene. She's such a good writer. Where a pro-lifers picket on TV waved their judgment signs, and he cheered them on, saying values are gone and women make their own beds. That's where they should lie. My mouth went dry, hers, and all the blood rushed to my head. You don't know nothing. You could never be there until you've had to make that choice. Keep your voice in your beer. So here's like this vet saying, don't sing to me about fucking Vietnam. And there's this woman singing to me, don't sing to me about choice. Saying, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the next verse is like, the bridge is, I can't believe how you think, but let me sit down and buy you a drink. Social media has killed that. It's gone. And it's the demise of this civilization. It's the worst. It's you say, people say shit. People I know intimately say shit on social media I've never heard them say in public. It's terrible. It's, if there's something that's going to bring us all down, it's fucking social media. It's the fucking worst. You should tune into this show every week.
Every week, tune into the show at noon. This is great. Not on social media. Watch it later on. But no, I see that, and there's that anonymity of typing into a computer, into a screen, not seeing somebody's face, not interacting. When you interact with somebody, it's one of two things. One is you're super happy, or one is you're all head up in for some reason, and it where the anger comes out instead of the relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that especially, let's say don't even call it last 4 years, the last 12 or so, right? There's been enough social media-ness of pushing extremism, and it causes a lot of issues. I definitely that's now you get into the politics of it all. Yeah, that's just terrible. I mean, I just mean even normal conversation. Social. Well, because I think ultimately, at least to me, it's based in politics someplace. But that's just my personal take on it.
Go back to that open mic that I used to host. Mm-hmm. I mean, I talk a lot, and I have said amazingly ignorant things over the years, dumb things. I admittedly said to somebody once years ago, and half my friends here are gonna be like, "You said what? What the fuck are you talking about?" But I'll make my point. Like, I remember I was talking to somebody who's married. There were two women who were married, friends of mine, and they might not have been married. This might have been before marriage in the country anywhere was legal, gay marriage. And I still had this like deep down sort of grew up in a church ethic of like, well, maybe it should be like, its own thing, like gay marriage. You get a gay marriage certificate. It's like keeping marriage between a man and a woman separate. And again, this is a conversation. When you put it on Facebook, you're making like this statement. But I'm having this conversation. I'm like, and they said to me, and I meant it, and I had said it a few times before that. And they said to me, you know what that is, Tom? That's separate but equal. Think about that. Think about that with racism and all. And I went, oh, I never thought about that. That is fucked up. And that's one of the things that helped me. I mean, I was born in 1969. I'm like an old fuck, and that's one of the things that helped me. That's one of the things that helped me like go, oh, that's why it should just be fucking marriage, not gay marriage or a different kind of marriage. And that's a conversation. And that conversation happened before social media was so ingrained in our conversation. And I still have that friend to this day because that's how that conversation went. And it also is something that helped me to change to, I don't even want to say change my mind. It helped me to grow,
Yeah, help you learn.
you know?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
this is the kind of thing that more and more these days we're missing. We're missing more and more. I genuinely,
The learning
you know,
opportunity.
yeah, I
The growing
genuinely don't like it.
opportunity.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of get grumpy. I get off my lawn. I just don't like this social media anymore. I like it. I like it to keep in touch. I'm watching friends. I'm watching Mary and Jocelyn here, and they're chiming in with comments, and I love the social media aspect of that, you know. But I don't like, and I have to resist it every day. Like I see somebody saying some dumb fuck shit about I don't need a mask because I got my vaccine, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, I'm not educating anybody. Like, what? Just all right, just whatever. Anyway, I've had a lot of coffee, Dan.
I don't think I had enough coffee, Tom. I'm trying to keep up with you. This is speaking of keeping up with you. You know, your 24-hour persona, the hardest working man in Boston, Somerville, Cambridge. I think that's a real thing. And you know, to get back to it this is as you're getting set up for your next song, I hope.
Yeah.
The one of the amazing things, and you know, when I first got to Boston, you know, I had a guitar and I played it a little bit. And you know, I didn't know what I was doing, and no one does early on. And it was a friend of mine, actually from Georgia, who was coming to visit and said, "Have you ever heard of the Lizard Lounge open mic?" This was in 2006 or 2007.
Yep.
And
Long time ago.
Yeah, and she was like, so I want to go over there and check it out. And I said, okay, I'll bring my guitar. And that was the first time I was there. And this friend from Georgia dragged me over to Cambridge to play the Lizard on open mic. You were there. You were amazing as always. And that was it. I was hooked. So that experience, I think, took my head from, you know, playing once a month at the All Asia, and kind of like refocused it. No, really, and refocused it on.
I have a history with the All Asia. It was a great place, but oh my goodness,
yeah, and
blast from the past.
Yeah, and it was this kind of like, oh, there are people. There's like this group of people who are looking out for each other, and these people who are going to help each other. And I feel like that ultimately kind of in complete and utter opposite of what you were just talking about, social media. It was, you know, the being in person, the being there, the seeing you, you know, very kindly walk out this poor comedian. Yeah, no, and you, as Jocelyn just said, you're the reason people came back, and it was amazing, and what a great experience, and what a fantastic, you know, opportunity for people to play. Like I played a show, and Ryan Montbleu was on right after me, and I was like, what is going on here? That's nothing like that could have ever happened if not for you and not for the Lizard Lounge open mic. And you know, talk to people.
I honestly worry for it. I've had this conversation a few times. I honestly worry for it. I don't know, and this is not a knock on any generation or any person or any, like, it really isn't, but it's just a different day. And I ran the singer-songwriter series at the Burn for years on Sunday nights before I gave it up, and it went on to be part of the Burn Backroom series. And when it's the Burn, what it is now, well, if it ever gets back into play, is like, you know,
Right.
doors open at 7 or so. The show starts at 8. Whole thing's done by 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we're out of there, you know. And there's a cover, you know, it's a ticketed show, just like everything we've done, and it's great. It's great. There's nothing wrong with it, and I've tried to figure out other ways to get young artists in there, up and coming artists. I shouldn't even say young, just up and coming artists. But before that, before the Burn Backroom series, the singer-songwriter series on Sundays started. I got there at 7. I set up the stage. I booked somebody at 8 o'clock, and I booked somebody at 9 o'clock, and I passed the hat for these artists, you know?
Oh, yeah, sure. I remember that. Yeah.
Scoring artists.
Yeah.
It was a great place. And then I played at about 10, and this all translated to 8:30, 9:30, 10:30.
Sure, right.
And I played for about an hour at 10, and then like Ryan Montbleu would come by. All these artists would come by. These random people would come by, and friends of friends would play a couple songs, and other people would, like Amos Lee played that room once. Mary Lou Lord came in. Ellis Paul played that room once. Vance Gilbert stopped in, just played a couple songs for the fuck of it. Brilliant musicians. You know, bands would be on tour. They'd come and play, and then, you know, the drummer would be there, and I'd be like, hey, I want to play a few songs, and it's some drummer from all over the country. I played with probably 24 drummers randomly on Sunday nights that I couldn't remember unless I saw them and we started talking about the night, and I'd be like, oh yeah, dude, you with the red, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, almost the same way the blues jam has gone away. Like, there was a generation of musicians. There was a time period where every bar had a blues jam, every single one. Mm-hmm. And it was you wouldn't even imagine any bar without a blues night, and that's gone. And it just isn't in demand anymore. And I do worry for, like, you know, it's like, actually Ryan was talking. I guess nothing bad. I hate to. Ryan was just telling me the other day that he had somebody open up for him, and they were young, you know, Berkeley kid. And, you know, this Montbleu was a guy who toured solo, toured by himself, bought Martin Sexton's truck and toured in Martin Sexton's truck until it ran it into the ground. And he sold it to me. and then bought another van. And then he brought the whole band. And the band toured for 10 years. And he had already been touring for 5, 6, 7 years before that. And he played, and he just wanted to play. And then he would come by the Burn on a Tuesday night, on a night off, just to say hi to Hugh and myself. And we'd be like, you want to play? He's like, of course I want to play. Mm-hmm. And that's his personality. And I'm not saying everybody's personality has to be that, but it's like, it's this, he was saying he had this woman open up for him, young Berkeley kid. And they would, you know, and he turns around a year or two later and she's got like millions of hits on the YouTube, the social media, blah, blah, blah. She never toured, never left the house, mm-hmm. never went out. She's a fucking YouTube star now, which is like, that's great. That's awesome. But when I think of the experiences I've had from playing out and like this thread of people, I fear for it. I don't know if it's going to be the norm ever again. Like, every bar had an open mic, and every bar had a singer-songwriter series and an underground thing where you just passed the hat. It was loose and you know, and people, you know, it's off nights. So if you can come out, you come out. You can't. It's no big deal. It's like no pressure, not a lot of pressure from the club to fill the room, because it's like, it's a fucking Tuesday anyway. We'll take what we can get, you know? And it's like, it's just, I fear for that. I'm just like that this night and like this sort of mentality. And if it is going the way of the dodo bird, and that's that. And if that is it, then that is it. Because people get upset when venues close, and I get upset when venues close, but at the same time I go, venues close. People, you know, venues fucking close. Like, if any venue owner decides, you know what, whether it because they're broke, some venues have closed because they can't stay open because of COVID has destroyed them. But some venues close because it's time. Like, Johnny D's closed because Carla was like, I'm done. I was born in this place. I was raised in this place. I've had a blast. It's paid for my kids' education. I'm done. I don't want to fucking do it anymore. Yeah. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know,
no, that was a fun room to play, and it was. Yeah. You know, it just, speaking of blues jam, I had a great blues jam there once. It was so fun.
Johnny D's was like the last one in town. You know. But even their blues jam went from like Sunday night for like 4 hours to like Sunday evening, so we could squeeze in a late show. Right. To like Sunday between 2 and 4. You know, until it was like, you know, 3 old guys with Stratocasters who, you know, were like saying shit. You're like, you shouldn't say that, dude. You know, it just gets outdated. But I do think there's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of, I mean, if you think about it, like the Burn, I courted my wife there. Mm-hmm. These relationships happen, like the open mic. You know, it's so valuable, and I agree, know
100%.
I don't know if anybody, and there's nothing wrong with like promoting online and doing shows online but I just, there's nothing like that human touch. I feel like we're getting more and more isolated.
Well, one of the things that I know I've been talking about is the after. You know, the once everybody's vaccinated or enough people are vaccinated, we can open up shows. We can all go. We can all, you know, hug each other. You know, the first time I step into the back room at the Burn, I know I'm going to cry. The fact that one of the things, and I talked to a whole bunch of people on the side of where am I looking here on the side about this it's the hang, it's the after. It's the great show. Now let's chat about it. Or it's the great show. Hey, why don't you play a show with me next week? Or like you were just saying, Ryan shows up, you and Huge up on stage and play for hours. You know, that community building, person to person relationship, that's never going to not be needed. And I feel like that is.
It's always going to be needed, but eventually there won't be a place to go do it.
But and that's the fear. That's the fear, right? Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Well,
yeah, blah 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 blah.
Look at us. This is great, Tom. This is one of my favorite times I've done this. This is so wonderful and so amazing. I love talking to you.
Tom talks a lot and takes me off the hook.
No, it's just great. Why don't you play another song?
So what have I done? I did Danielle's song. I did Police. This song I picked because obviously, hands down, is one of the greatest artists of all time. And like growing up on Long Island, like you mentioned, sometimes like I remember I liked the Police, but like if you like Duran Duran, like everybody would make fun of you. So I was like, oh, Duran Duran, so lame, you know, like a typical Long Island dumbass, you know. Meanwhile, Duran Duran was fucking awesome. They're like the best disco band ever. But anyway, this next artist was an artist I appreciate more and more with every day. And I don't know, a lot of people didn't like that movie, but I really love that movie. And you'll know what I'm talking about in just a second. There were times when I need to feel a little pain, ironing out the rough spots is the hardest part when memories remain. Well, it's times like this when we all need to hear the radio from the lips of some old singer, sharing troubles out we already know. 2, 3, 4, turn them on, turn them on, turn on those sad songs. I hope it's gone home. Why don't you turn into them on? Whoops. Reach into your room. Oh, 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 you feel that gentle touch. And I hope it's gone. Sad songs say so much. When someone else is suffering it up, I'll write it down. And every single word makes sense. It's when it's easier to have them songs around. The kick inside and that line that finally gets to you. It feels so good to hustle, baby. Suffer just enough to sing it close. Turn them on, turn them on, turn on those sad songs. When I hope it's gone, why don't you tune in and turn them on? Reach into your room, oh, 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 you feel that gentle touch. I hope it's gone. Sad songs say so much. for me, 'cause I'm all right. I don't want you to tell me it's time to go home. I don't care what you say anymore. This is my life. Go ahead with your own life. Leave me alone. Well, sad songs they say. Sad songs they say. Sad songs they say. Sad songs they say. So much, so turn them on. Turn them on. Turn on those sad songs. I hope it's gone, children. Why don't you tune in and turn them on? Reach into your room. Oh, 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 you feel that gentle touch. I hope it's gone. Sad songs say so much. I hope it's gone. Sad songs say so much. And every little bit of hope is gone. Sad songs say so much. Why cry when you dancing out of me? Why cry when you dancing? Left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. And I never lost a minute of sleeping, wondering about the way this might have been. And everyday people. It's hard to hit that note with a harmonica thing around your neck. Turn them on, turn on low. Every little bit of hope is got a sad song say so much. Come on back into the screen, Dan, so I can stop playing the song. Getting closer to the mic with the guitar like I'm actually making a record or something. Oh yeah, that's right, on the desk. Here's the mic, here's my voice. Here's the mic, here's my voice. Yeah.
Woo! Oh, that was great, Tom.
Beating on that guitar a little bit. For you.
I love it. You know what? I was going to ask you. My wife has this theory that everybody growing up in New York in the 80s and 90s, was born knowing the lyrics to every Billy Joel song.
Pretty much.
I feel like that's a real thing.
Also, no one else in the world knows the band Zebra.
Oh my good God!
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want.
Oh my goodness! I'm looking through the chat. This is great. My friend Veer, who's in the chat, who's commenting right now, is watching in Buenos Aires, Argentina. She came to visit Boston, and she was infatuated with Lizard Lounge, with everything you did, and thought it was amazing, and thought you were fantastic, because you are. True story. Dan Martinelli is right. You are a treasure. It is true story.
Oh, cut it out, Dan. Lefties are weird. They don't know what they're talking about.
See, it's right there. You are a treasure. It's a true story. Yeah. Oh,
Dan,
man.
Dan moved. Where'd you go, Dan?
Did he go to Colorado? I think he went to Colorado.
I don't know. Dan left. I don't like when people leave Boston. Makes me mad.
Yeah.
Whatever. Question
for you, Tom, and I feel like I know my answer to this question, and I'm curious what yours is. You've told us a big part of your story.
I love you, Dan, by the way. You know I'm kidding, right? Dan left in LA. Yeah, Mary gets it. Sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
That's okay. No, it's so fun. That the question for you is do you ever think of when you're in running a show, when you're doing the MC thing, when you're hosting things, is it easier to host than to talk about yourself? And do you find like it's you kind of go more towards that kind of like I can be up here and talk about other people all day, but when you ask me a question about me, it's a little more difficult to answer.
I think I think I'm good either way. I think the important thing to know is what time what time it is, what turn it is. If you're,
Yeah.
it's when you're an MC or a host or an interviewer, like you're doing a wonderful job, by the way. Thanks, Dan, tonight.
Thanks,
Today.
Tom. Thank you.
Well, I've done some podcasts through COVID. I've kind of burnt out on them. It's weird. I enjoy making them, and I get weirdly depressed, and I don't know if I can do it anymore. I like knowing what your role is. Like, if I'm interviewing somebody and it's 10 or 15 minutes, I have to make sure it's all about them 100%. And if it's going to be an hour or two, I can interject a little bit with personal experience, but I still have to make sure the focus is on the person I'm interviewing. And, but when it's here and I just wanted to make sure I was sensitive at the beginning of this interview. I wanted to make sure I was sensitive to the direction that you wanted to take your podcast. I wasn't sure if you wanted it to be all about songs and the covers and why you picked the song and the artist and what that artist means to you, or if it's just an open forum thing. So that's why I kept checking back in with you when I was talking about like my fucking high school days. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, but one of the fascinating things that I find in doing this is seeing people's stories and learning about them. Like it makes, at least in my mind, it gives me a clearer picture, where if I had just, if I had gone to 3 Lizard Lounge open mics or 2 Burn Back rooms, like I might know you like baseball, but that's a big deal. Like, going to baseball game, go to baseball games with your dad.
We were going to go to a game.
We were supposed to go. I actually bought tickets. I bought tickets last year.
Yeah, we were planning on going to a game.
Yeah,
that's a lot of. That's really one of my favorite things to do, is to go to a baseball game with a friend, and even if we're not like I went with my dad to see the Red Sox play Kansas City. We're both Yankees fans.
Yeah,
it's just great, just a great experience.
It really is, and you pay attention to the game half the time, maybe 3/4, maybe 2/3 of the time.
No, you watch the game, man. You watch.
Well, no, you have the conversation the whole time. Is what I'm saying. And you have the conversation about baseball, about the game, about
There's nothing worse when the fucking schmuck behind you is talking about work, some fucking thing, some bullshit that doesn't have to. It's like, shut up.
And because
I'm a little bit of a baseball snob.
That's fine. So am I.
Yeah.
And I find that one of the most beautiful things in baseball is the triple.
Yeah.
That is one of the most amazing things.
It's a long period of action. It takes a long time to get to third base.
And not just that, it's the excitement of, you hit first, you think about it, you hit second, it's like, oh my God, he's gonna do it, and just like any play, it there's the anticipation of, whether you want him to be out or safe, there's always that anticipation there, and I feel like that's one of the beauties of baseball is amazing. It's like ballet. It's just highest form of athleticism, and I know some people think it's boring, but it's seeing the beauty in all the things that are happening all at the same time, at least to me. But yeah, no, I love baseball a lot. In fact, last year I had tickets to see the Mets in Chicago, tickets to see the Mets in Atlanta, Red Sox tickets. I think I had 2 or 3 of those. That's beside all the concerts that I had tickets to that all were canceled.
Yeah. Yeah. At Fenway, I tell you, it's funny. I'm a Yankee fan. I talk to my dad about baseball all the time, and I know this is not cool in a lot of the old school baseball world, but I'm a fan. Like, I love going to Fenway. I'm a Red Sox fan. I know that's sacrilege to say, but I am. Like, I watching them when they went down in 2003. I was like psyched that my Yankees were going on to the World Series, but I was kind of like, God, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like, just this team can't get a break. Like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Right.
And they won in 2004, and I watched all those games. I watched the Yankee games, and I mean, again, I was just like, I watched the first round of Yankees games, and I'm like, yeah, rooting for the Yankees, of course. The what do you call it? The what's the first round of the playoffs? The
divisional series.
The divisional series. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I'm rooting for my team, and then the Yankees are sweeping, and it's fucking over. You know, this is 2004, and if anybody needs an explanation, then they don't know baseball. It's so the Yankees are 3-0. They're up 3-0. All they got to do is win one game out of 4, and they're not, and then the Red Sox win. It's this miracle comeback. It's just as huge as Miracle on Ice in 1980. It's as big as that.
I think it's bigger, but then that's.
Yeah, they get into an argument. It's a fun argument, LeBron or Jordan. It's a fun. You're into the stratosphere of what's big.
I was actually at Game 4.
You were at Game 4
at Fenway with
Sunday night.
David Roberts with the stolen base
Sunday night.
Yeah, I was there. It was
Blue single.
One of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. Just to be there, it was just it was electric. Does not describe it. It was just tremendous.
But what I'm saying is there's something about Boston and Fenway that means more to me than Yankee Stadium ever could. And now my father will make that same statement because he grew up in Manhattan. He grew up on 135th Street, Spanish Harlem. He grew up, as kids, they would run under the turnstiles and go sneak into games and shit like that. Right. Like Easter Sunday was tradition. You went to the Yankee game. You went to church. You went to the Yankee game.
Which one was the better church? That's depending on who.
Yeah. And I got the opportunity to talk to Kevin Youkilis just a year or two ago, and I told him, I was like, hey man, I told him I'm from New York, and he's like I played the original Yankee Stadium. He's like, it was amazing. It's like the new one's weird. It's almost like the Roman Coliseum that separates the poor people from the rich people.
Right.
He's like, I don't like it. He really didn't like it. He's like, but that old stadium, that was like, he's the cathedral. He said it was one of the greatest parks he'd ever played in, he ever been in, But I've been to through Josh Cantor, the organ player. I've been all through the booths, and I've been in the, I've played the organ, and
that's awesome.
Josh has taken me on the field after a game. I've been on that field a bunch of times. Singing the national anthem at Fenway is on my bucket list. I want to do that.
Oh, absolutely. Me too.
I'm hoping I could do that at some point. But it's there's something about Boston, Fenway, baseball. I still want to do the whole, I don't want to go to see every single ballpark in the country, but I want to see more than I have.
I want to see Pittsburgh. That looks amazing.
Yeah, I've never been to Wrigley, man.
It's better than you think it is.
Yeah.
It's better. You think it's great. It's better. Yeah. Yeah. But this is coming back to the original thing. Yes. No, I want to know Tom Bianchi. I want to talk about baseball with Tom Bianchi. I want to talk about music. Somebody asked me the couple weeks ago, is that okay? Then I'm like, of course it's okay. This is your show. I'm just the conduit of bringing you to the people. That's all I'm doing here. And trying to kind of bump up a little bit, like what you're saying, get a little bit of that community going, a little bit of the let's see something cool, something neat, something interesting. Whether people who are in the chat right now know who you are, Tom Bianchi, and some people don't. And so they can share it to their friends and see the awesomeness of Tom Bianchi.
No one is still watching this, Dan. No one is watching. Just you and me.
I have at least 8 people, according to my thing right here. At least 8 people.
And Avsha, because it's he's like got insomnia in Germany or whatever fucking time it is there. You mean Avsha? What's up, Avsha? How you doing, man?
But Tom, I do have to say that it's about that time. If you have one more song, that would be great.
I do.
I have to get my second COVID shot, so.
Good for you, man. Ow.
I would be more than happy to sit here for another 2 hours with you. This is just incredible and so fun and so wonderful.
I do some podcasts. I've done them, and you get you just get into it and you think it's good. Yeah. Someone's like, how long is it? A half an hour? I'm like, as long as you want. 3 hours later. They're like, right. Oh my God, what happened?
Well, before you play, we can tell everybody who's watching that you do the thing on Sunday. You still have Bigger Thomas Band going every Thursday.
Every Thursday, I go online. Just, you know what? I haven't been as religious as showing up to the bar. But, I go online just about every Thursday. I'll bail on one every now and then. Oh, God, I lost my head.
But I feel like it's good that you're giving yourself permission to do that, because it's one of those things I feel like, especially in the streaming thing, it gives us a little bit of like, oh, I need a break today kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. No rules in COVID. Do what you can. Do your best, right? Oh, I gotta get my headphones on. All right. This is I got that super reverb going on again. This is gonna be quick. I gotta take a leak. It's one of the earliest artists to influence me. My mom and dad used to listen to these records. What are you listening to, Mom, Dad? Oh, I'm listening to Pink Floyd, the Rolling Stones. Cool. What is that? Oh, that's a record player. Cool. Hey, Mom, Dad, what's that funny smell? Get out of here, kid. Leave us alone. Mom and Dad are smoking. Well, I think it's fun building jumbo planes or taking a ride on a cosmic train. Switch on your summer from a slot machine. You can get what you want if you want it, 'cause you can get anything. I know it come a long way, change from day to day. Won't you tell me, where do the children play? That's a low note, oh yeah, way down here. Well, you roll on over fresh green grass with your lorry load, pumping petrol gas. Well, you make it long, well, you make it tough. Well, you keep on keeping on until you can't get off. I know it come a long way, change from day to day. Won't you tell me, where do the children play? When you crack the sky, scrapers fill the air. We keep on building them higher till there's no more room up there. Will you make them laugh? Will you make them cry? Will you tell them when to live? Will you tell them when to die? I know it come a long way, change from day to day. Won't you tell me, where do the children play? Yeah. I don't know how to do this anymore. I abandoned it right there because I busted out the loop pedal and I haven't used it in like 2 years. I was like, let me try this thing I used to do at the Burn like 5 years ago, and maybe I should have practiced it a little bit more than that. But you get the gist.
It's real. It's real, Tom. It's real. It's happening. It sounded awesome. I loved it.
Dan Russo.
Tom Bianchi.
You want to get his second shot
Yes.
right now. Cool, man.
I'm very excited. Everybody, Tom Bianchi, just wonderful human being, fantastic musician, great singer-songwriter.
Everybody, what are you talking about?
All around. I see at least 7 people there, so maybe 8. So, and that's not counting the people who are going to watch this later on today. So,
playing out, Dan.
Tom's playing us out. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here today. We'll see you.
Dan Russo under the covers. It's hard for him to do this and concentrate and speak.
I'm just so entertained. This is part of the
Magical Garden theme song, something that New Yorkers get, most other people don't. Remember the Magic Garden?
Of course.
Hope you had a real nice time. The Chuckle Patch. Remember the
This is amazing. Tom,
Magic Garden ladies, they weren't fucking tripping on balls.
Oh no, you know they were. It's amazing.
Every single kid show in the 70s that you and me watched, the Banana Splits, tripping balls, dude.
Oh yeah. But that Romper Room, totally, 100%. Tom Bianchi, everybody. I'm Dan Russo. We'll see you all next Sunday. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody watching. I'm going to end the stream with Tom's hair. Peace, everybody.